Mind exists outside the body. The question of whether the mind can exist outside the body is a tantalizing enigma that bridges philosophy, neuroscience, and even speculative science. It challenges our understanding of consciousness, identity, and the very nature of existence. As both a philosopher and a scientist, I invite you to explore this mystery with me, weaving together empirical insights, philosophical arguments, and vivid examples to keep the intrigue alive until the final word. Could the mind, our thoughts, emotions, and sense of self, persist beyond the physical confines of the brain? Let's dive into this profound puzzle. The philosophical foundation. What is the mind? Philosophically, the mind is a slippery concept. The soul, as Plato suggested, a non-physical entity temporarily housed in the body? Or is it, as materialists like Daniel Dennett argue, an emergent property of the brain's complex computations? Dualism, championed by René Descartes, posits that the mind and body are distinct substances. The body is physical, extended in space, while the mind is non-physical, capable of existing independently. Descartes famously declared, "I think, therefore I am," suggesting that the mind's essence is thought itself, unbound by flesh. Yet, monists counter that the mind is inseparable from the body. Physicalism, a dominant view in modern philosophy, holds that mental states are brain states, neurons firing, synapses sparking. If the brain ceases to function, so does the mind. But this view leaves room for speculation. Could the mind's patterns, its information, be transferred or preserved elsewhere? The philosophical debate sets the stage for intrigue. Is the mind tethered to the body, or could it transcend it? The scientific perspective, the brain as the mind's anchor neuroscience grounds the mind firmly in the brain. The brain's 86 billion neurons, connected by trillions of synapses, generate consciousness through intricate electrochemical processes. Studies of brain injuries illustrate this vividly. For example, damage to the prefrontal cortex can alter personality, as seen in the case of Phineas Gage, a 19th-century railroad worker whose temperament changed dramatically after a tamping iron pierced his skull. Similarly, conditions like Alzheimer's disease erode memory and selfhood as neural networks degrade, suggesting the mind depends on the brain's physical integrity. Yet, science also hints at possibilities beyond the brain. Neuroplasticity shows that the brain can rewire itself, adapting to new contexts. Could this adaptability extend to non-biological substrates? The field of artificial intelligence raises provocative questions. If we could map a brain's neural patterns and replicate them in a computer, would the resulting mind be the same person? Projects like the Human Connectome Project, which aims to chart the brain's connections, fuel speculation about uploading consciousness. Imagine a digital Phineas Gage. Would his mind persist, disembodied, in silicon? Speculative science. Mind uploading and beyond the idea of mind uploading or transferring consciousness to a non-biological medium is a staple of science fiction but grounded in real scientific inquiry. Researchers like Ray Kurzweil predict that by the 2040s, we may achieve the computational power to simulate a human brain. The Blue Brain Project, which models neural networks, has already simulated portions of a rat's brain. Full human brain could be emulated. Could the mind exist in a computer, free from its organic body? This raises a philosophical conundrum. Would this digital mind be you, or merely a copy? Another scientific angle comes from quantum mechanics. Some theorists, like Roger Penrose and Stuart Hameroff, propose that consciousness involves quantum processes in the brain's microtubules. Their orchestrated objective reduction, orchestroir, theory suggests that consciousness might tap into fundamental properties of the universe, potentially allowing it to exist beyond the brain. While controversial, this idea opens a door to the mind as a phenomenon not strictly tied to biology. Could the mind, like a quantum wave, persist in some universal field? Philosophical counterpoints. The hard problem of consciousness. David Chalmers' hard problem of consciousness complicates the scientific picture. We can map brain activity, the easy problems, explaining how physical processes give rise to subjective experience. The feeling of being remains elusive. If consciousness is more than computation, perhaps it could exist independently of the body. Panpsychism, a philosophical view gaining traction, suggests that consciousness is a fundamental property of the universe, like mass or energy. In this view, the mind might not be confined to the brain but distributed across reality, like a cosmic hum. Consider a thought experiment. If consciousness is universal, could a mind persist after bodily death, merging with a broader consciousness? Many spiritual traditions, from Buddhism to mysticism, embrace this idea, describing the mind as a droplet returning to an ocean of awareness. While untestable, this perspective keeps the mystery alive, blending philosophy with existential wonder. Intriguing examples: near-death experiences and cultural narratives. Near-death experiences, NDEs, offer compelling, if anecdotal, evidence for the mind's independence. People who survive cardiac arrest often report vivid experiences, tunnels of light, out-of-body perspectives, while their brains are oxygen-deprived. A 2014 study by Sam Parnia found that 40% of cardiac arrest survivors recalled some awareness during clinical death. Could these experiences suggest the mind can operate without the brain? Skeptics argue they're hallucinations, but the consistency of NDEs across cultures fuels intrigue. Cultural narratives also shape our thinking. In Tibetan Buddhism, the concept of the bardo describes a transitional state where the mind exists between bodies. Similarly, ancient Egyptian beliefs held that the ka, or soul, could journey beyond the body. These stories, while not scientific, reflect a universal human intuition. The mind feels distinct from the body, capable of transcendence. The ethical and practical implications: if the mind could exist outside the body, the implications are staggering. Digitally uploaded minds could achieve immortality, but at what cost? Would they retain human rights? Imagine a future where minds are stored in cloud servers, vulnerable to hacking or deletion. Philosophically, this raises questions of identity. If your mind is copied, which version is you? The ship of Theseus paradox applies. If every part of a ship is replaced, is it the same ship? If your mind is rebuilt in a machine, is it still you? Scientifically, we're far from answering these questions. Current brain-computer interfaces, like those developed by Neuralink, allow rudimentary communication between brains and machines. But replicating consciousness requires leaps we haven't yet made. The intrigue lies in the gap between our current knowledge and the tantalizing possibilities ahead. The mystery endures. Can we ever know? As we reach the end, the question remains unresolved. Science ties the mind to the brain's physical processes, yet speculative models, mind uploading, quantum consciousness, panpsychism, suggest it could exist independently. Philosophy amplifies the mystery, questioning whether consciousness is bound by matter or something more. Examples like NDEs and cultural beliefs add layers of intrigue, while thought experiments push us to imagine the unimaginable. Picture a final analogy: the mind as a melody played on a piano. The piano, the body, produces the sound, but is the melody itself confined to the keys? If the notes could be played elsewhere, on a violin, in a computer, would it still be the same melody? Perhaps the mind, like a melody, is a pattern that can transcend its medium. Or perhaps it's irrevocably tied to its instrument. The question of whether the mind can exist outside the body is a mirror reflecting our deepest curiosities about selfhood and existence. It challenges us to bridge the tangible and the ethereal, the known and the unknown. As we probe further, with science and philosophy as our guides, the mystery persists, inviting us to wonder: could our minds, one day, soar beyond the flesh? Or are they forever bound to the body that cradles them?